crying. I'm really just a dickhead, I'm really just a dickhead. Don't act like you don't know me. This camp deserve a trophy. Baby, they know me straight. Do the most crying in history. Power potent, go show up. This camera clippers blow up. It's bossy or crying. 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 Bossy or crying.
I'm Toad, and this is Barber News. I want to jump right into some crazy news. Now, 2025 is going to be a huge year for TPOB, but it's also going to be a crazy year for barbers. It's the first time in history barbers will be able to finally trust a brand with a huge selection of products, giving the best quality for the best prices. Now, I'm not talking just basic equipment. I'm talking high-end equipment, the absolute best technology, products that make sense and make barbering easy. Ladies and gentlemen, you are witnessing a new dimension of barbering, one that is solely focused on actual barbers. TPOB has taken huge risks investing a massive amounts of money to keep the standards on the premium side of things. Why? Because barbers matter. And TPOB isn't just a brand. It's a name you hear that represents change, high quality, and passion for giving the best products possible. Let the last two pictures be a clue on what's about to come. Have you figured it out yet? One of my favorite things about TPOB is that they show and brag about how much they reinvest back into the company, and that shows how passionate they are about giving to barbers. Believe it or not, expensive cars seem fun, but setting the limits for barbers is even better. So without you, this wouldn't be possible, and that's how much you are appreciated. Barbers mean everything. Name another company that is trying this hard to get the best products manufactured. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else cares this much. But what they do care about is looking bad. So the other brands don't like to be shown up. Maybe if the other brands cared about barbers instead of trying to just get richer, TPOB wouldn't have to put in so much work. But hey, if the others are gonna slack, someone's gotta do it. We will see so many brands scratching heads trying to crack the code this year. Some brands that don't make money will keep going purely out of stubbornness, and some will just not want their father to think they failed them. Other brands will try sue each other thinking that's why they are not doing good in sales. They will make up all these crazy excuses pointing the finger at each other. But the fact of the matter, the solution to all their problems is actually just them simply not being good enough. You see, TPOB was a barber for years. Someone can create a new clipper and bring it to him, and he will test it and say, that's not good enough. But if you bring it to any other brand, they don't have a clue. It's like asking Ronaldo which clipper is better. He won't have the slightest idea. And why would he? He isn't a barber. And truly only barbers will know if a clipper is good or not. Anyone who disagrees with that is simply just angry at the world. It was really good to watch brands try get their hands on the Vector motor. They thought if they can just get that motor, their brand will be the best brand, and everyone will only buy from them. Sadly, this is not the case. You see, if it was that simple, everyone would do it. I feel sorry for all the cheaper quality brands thinking they are close to cracking the code on clippers. I mean, it just proved itself that these brands literally know nothing about how clippers work. The barbering world is ruthless. You can make up all these cool ideas in your head and make it seem real simple how to get successful. But if you think it's that easy, you're simply mistaken. A really cheap quality brand would have had its hopes up. And clearly not being a barber and just listening to people speak who know nothing about anything. But they didn't do enough research on the clipper. But they just wanted fast success, and we all know this doesn't happen. They paid a barber and sent him clippers. Now, clipper review guys these days are ruthless, unless you're the top-known brands, because the reviewers want to look like they know what they are talking about, but also make the bigger brands look even better, so they will do anything to get brownie points. Check out this video on this brand that got suckered. Welcome to the barbering world.
Going against the grain. Sometimes it was smooth, it had no problems. But once I got to somebody with some thick hair, I ran into a few snags. It wasn't often though. If it was, if the hair was just too thick though, it would snag a little bit. But you take your motor, of course, it's a vector motor and it's supposed to slow down and all that stuff. But there are a few times that you had to take your time and slow down to actually get through the hair. Make sure, of course, you want to make sure you comb and brush the hair anyway. But I ran into a couple problems, right? So, you know, just letting you know.
Absolutely ruthless. Now, before anyone says anything, the guy is fully within his right to be honest about the clipper. But when someone sends you something for free and they still speak badly about your product, you know it's bad. And this is just one example of a brand who think a certain motor will shine light on them, but in fact it's the complete opposite. I rest my case. What do you think about really cheap brands trying to compete? Should they give up? Or should they start a new business since they had no idea about barbering in the first place? Let me know in the comments. This is why so many clipper brands will end up suing each other back and forth because they can't think of any new ideas. They have to copy a cool new color scheme, a new blade, a new shape, and the ones you see copy it makes everyone laugh. It's like leaving breadcrumbs out for the rats to play with. The rat will think he is the alpha enjoying his crumbs, but not know the king of the food chain was the one who decided the rat could eat. But let's not focus on these negative things anymore. We need to focus on more positive things. I wanted to tell you all about a story when I was cutting hair back when I was a barber. Alright, let me take y'all back to the wild days when I used to be a barber. Yeah, I know, hard to believe, right? But let me tell you, it was chaos. Back then, nobody cared about cleaning their tools. Sanitation? What's that? If someone had the nerve to complain about a rash from dirty clippers, we didn't apologize or fix it. Oh no! We'd straight up kick them out and say, "Don't ever come back." The audacity of us. And get this, the shop had no cameras. So, every time the boss went to the toilet, it was like the Olympics of thievery. We'd all line up like lions stalking their prey, dive into the cash register, grab just enough for lunch, and pretend like nothing happened. Nobody ever said a word. Oh, and let's talk about the women. Back then, if a lady walked into the shop, it didn't matter if we knew she had a man, we'd be shooting our shot like Steph Curry. Barbers were basically pirates with clippers, swashbuckling our way through life. It was reckless, it was messy, but somehow, it worked. Now I gotta ask, did any of you ever pull off some wild stuff like that at your old jobs? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear your crazy stories. I remember one barbershop I worked at. Man, the barber actually lived there. Yup, he had a little cot in the back and would drink himself to sleep every single night. The place even had a pool table, so honestly it felt more like working at a bar than a barbershop. Women would come in, not even for haircuts, just to hang out and vibe. And of course, with all the testosterone in the room, fights would break out all the time. But you know what? It was our spot, and we loved every chaotic second of it. About 10 years into my barbering career, I'll be real. I started regretting not going to college. I'd think about how different my life could have been. But then, one day, I met the love of my life, right there in that same barbershop. So I guess, looking back, everything happened for a reason. Now, I gotta ask, did any of y'all ever hook up with someone you met at a barbershop? Drop your stories in the comments. I know I'm not the only one. Let me know what you want to see on the next episode of Barber News. Always we can debate but be civil. Every conversation doesn't need to be a fight. Even if you don't support what I speak on, we can still speak like human beings. And don't forget, be really fast on this. Use code TOADLIQUOR on TPOBUSA.com for an insane discount. You won't get chances like this again. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You just watched Barber News with Toad. I'm out. Peace.